So shifting gears a little bit, you and I are not getting any younger. Now, as it happens on the RC, I'm the oldest and you're the youngest, and there's about 15 years between us or more. So we've gotten to the point where it's probably necessary for us to start thinking about the format leadership for the future as well. But how do you see us approaching that future?
I mean, we've been working on it for 5 or 10 years. I mean, I would like to think I will outlive the format as much as I hope the format is long lived. That doesn't mean that I want to be doing this all my life. But yeah, I do think that we need to think forward. You always taught me as a judge, the first thing you do, train your own replacement. Have those people available. From a philosophy perspective, go back to the things we talked about last time. Breadth of perspective, but shared values.
Right.
People that are that we trust as people. When we can't, there is no way we're ever going to come up with a rubric for evaluating RC members. It's I think this person's a good person is always going to be the top of the list. And beyond that, I think this person has the temperament, we've always said that that RC membership, RC additions were unanimous, required unanimous. That has always been a bedrock of the group because we work together. I don't see us ever taking a departure from that. That everybody has a veto, which is a tricky environment to work in, frankly.
Yes. Well, you have to trust the other people that you're working with, and which is a point that I was going to come around to was, will it ever be possible to form the kind of block that the four of us have over the years? Because, I mean, this has been a thing where we've trusted each other on the vision of the format for a long, long time.
I think there's two different questions there. There's forming the same kind of bond we have and forming the same kind of block. The kind of trust bond that we've been able to establish, I think, can be built over time. Although doing things together is usually the only way to build trust. So that's going to be, important. But I think we will have to, whoever comes on, whoever leaves, whether we grow, whether we rotate, we have to make sure that we build up to that trust, and we should take steps to provide opportunities to build that trust before it is tested. That's so the bond, I don't think we'll ever have the same kind of bond. The fact is we've been friends for a decade and a half. That's a pretty rare occurrence, all other things being equal. Should we build the same kind of block? No, I don't think so. I think it is natural that the kind of, we're not a dictatorship, but we are sort of a monolithic governance entity. Yeah. Those tend to give way to rotating representation, like successful ones, rotating representative. I think it is quite likely that at some point in a few years, 5 years, 10 years, who knows, whenever this is, that we would get to a place where we're like, all right, here are the rules for finding new members, for how long members serve. We are kind of self-appointed for life, for better or for worse, or at least until we decide to step away.
Right.
I think that is a reasonably good structure for starting a project and seeing a project launch and gain momentum. And, when you really want that clear continuity. Once the project has momentum, continuity of leadership is not the most important thing, which means we need a process whereby it becomes a living organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we have to operate in the assumption, like, you said, I hope that I outlive it, but we have to operate under the assumption that we won't. Because if the format or the game is gone in 10 or 15 years, then it doesn't matter. But if we're gone in 10 or 15 years, then it does.
Yep.
Assuming that the game is still around.
Yep.
So yeah, our operational philosophy is just, okay, well, this thing is is going to succeed us. So how do we continue to foster what we've fostered in the past? And it's not going to be easy because this is a frank conversation that you and I are having in front of a bunch of people. But it's not easy for people who have had authority to want to surrender some of that authority, or as we're seeing in the world right now,
sure,
people who have privilege not wanting to surrender some of that privilege.
One of the greatest marks of a good leader is the willingness to limit, delegate, or release their own power. And I don't say that of us. I say that of world leaders. I say that of organizational leaders. The ability to say, okay, cool, this is good. Let's see it sail. People joke about that with parents, but it goes beyond parenting. That said, we talk about, hope for the best, plan for the worst. This is more a case of let's plan for the best. Let's plan for, if you'd ask people 15 years ago, will magic be around? Will magic live to see 25 years? I bet you get pretty long odds on no.
Sure.
All right, maybe Commander is around in 10 or 15 years. So let's it's a good conversation to have. Write your wills, folks. If you're a grown-up with a salary, write a will. You're not going to make yourself more likely to die. You are likely to make your loved ones' lives easier.